Okay, y'all, so let's talk about this. So, as y'all can see, the IBF has ordered for Frank Sanchez and Moses Itauma to fight for their vacant IBF World Championship. Now, they have until the 29th of this month to agree. Now, Moses is fighting Filip Hrgovic the 29th of August. So, he can still make his mind up to decide if he wants to fight, Frank Sanchez or not. Now, I'll break down two things in this video. That's my purpose. So, Usyk, for him letting the belts go, him vacating belts, and these guys are fighting for it. Well, a lot of people are looking for Anthony Joshua to be in the mix of becoming a three-time world champion, regardless to, who the opponent will be. There's not really a lot of interest in heavyweights out there, but scenario-wise, there's belts available, so that there's, depending on who's fighting for these belts, can get some public interest in the heavyweight division, more so, than just having guys fight. And at the time of Usyk having the belts, and Usyk was a fighting champion, so, for me, it was always about the best man, fighting the best man, not popular demand. Now, I think this, regardless to whatever happens, whether AJ becomes three-time world champion or not, whether he's able to actually, become undisputed, one thing's for sure, somebody posted a video of Anthony Joshua looking like he's a lot slimmer. And I think that he wants to be quicker. I think he wants to be more evasive. I think he wants to, basically be in a position where we see his conditioning hasn't been a problem. Even with the muscle mass and all, it wasn't a problem. He corrected that problem, but I think that this is, he wants the stamina and everything, but I don't think this has much to do with that in this situation, because AJ has corrected that stamina issue. I think this is more of him being more evasive, more elusive, just like Usyk was, and lighter on his feet. But we'll have to see what happens. That's all great that he made the effort to try to cut weight and get in the best possible condition that he can. But, how it plays out in the ring, that's what we'll have to see. Now, as far as Moses Itauma goes, I think this about Filip Hrgovic. I don't see Filip Hrgovic the way other people do. I never have. He's slow. He's there to be hit. He's the type of guy that can chop you down if you're flat-footed and you just stand there. He lunges. He reaches a lot. He makes a lot of mistakes. He's there to be hit with flush punches. I truly think that Moses Itauma beats the shit out of Filip Hrgovic. I think that he is too fast, too strong, where, Filip is going to have to reach. Moses is going to taunt him. He's going to keep that hand in front of him. He's going to jab, keep one at the end of his shots. He's going to make Filip have to lunge in for punches, and I think that he's going to get counted, he's going to get hit, and he's going to get hurt. And because Filip is so flat-footed, he's slow feet, he's basic as fuck. Filip is just a guy that has been in there with guys. Like, when a guy comes to fight and all he knows is one way, the fans get excited by that, because they'll say, what a great fight, what a war, like with him and Zhang, for example. Zhang got gassed out. That's all. That's pretty much what happened. And I think people forget that. Filip Hrgovic is basic, like really basic, and he's one-dimensional. Now, unless Moses goes in there and just fight completely sloppy and terrible, I don't see how the fuck Filip is going to beat him. Moses has everything: the speed, the power, the timing, the quickness, the IQ. He has everything. I think he punishes Filip. I think he beats the shit out of him. I think he stops him. And if he doesn't stop him, that means he's going to get his ass beat all night long, and the ref will stop it or something. I don't see why Filip why Moses can't stop him. I think this is going to be a mismatch of a fight, but it's supposed to happen. It should, because Philip is one of the top guys that's out there in his division in boxing right now. So it should happen. I think he beats the shit out of Filip Hrgovic. Now, Frank Sanchez versus Moses, this could tell us a lot about both guys. And I'm going to tell you why. Even though there's people that think Philip got a chance, they look at him and think that he's like, oh, he's a good fighter and all. Like I say, and the fight should happen. I can see all the flaws he has, and with Moses' style, his speed, and that, just everything, I see Moses picking him apart. Frank Sanchez can box and understands how to box. I don't know what happened the night that Caballero beat the shot of Frank Sanchez. I'm never going to take credit from a fighter for winning. You know, Caballero did what he had to do. So even if something is wrong with an opponent, that's not your fault or your problem to worry about. Your goal is to go in there and win. I just feel like something was not right with Frank on that night. Frank looked terrible. He didn't even like the same person. So I don't know what happened. And until he fights Caballero and get revenge, you know, we know what happened, and that pretty much is just the end of it with that. Now, Frank fought recently and stopped the guy, knocked him out. He looked sharp in that fight. This will tell us just how primed up and ready Moses is. Because like I said, I think just stylistically, man, I just think he's too much for Philip. I think Moses beats all these guys. You know, he keeps focused, stay hungry, keep focused. I think he beats all of them. Now, if AJ can return to top form, if AJ can be that guy, because he has experience, but he has to have the mindset, the IQ, it all has to, you know, click together. It has to be in sync. Not fight himself in there and confidently go in there and be AJ. If he can do that, then hey, we could see a difference then. But anyways, with Moses, I think Moses, you know, I like I said, I don't see a reason why he can't beat Hrgovic. I don't even see that fight being competitive. You know, like I said, I just think he's gonna have to reach a lot, and I think he's gonna run into a lot of shit, man, and he's gonna get hurt, and he's gonna get busted up and swollen and beat up, and I don't see why Moses can't dust the floor with this guy. Now, that being said as well, I think that for Frank Sanchez, this is more of a redemption for him. Because I remember, like, when he fought against FA and he defeated FA, you know, Frank always showed he could box. So my thing with that was, you know, he never got to the point where, okay, I beat FA, now I'm going to rise. It's like his opponents just went down, then up, then down. So he wasn't in there with any notable names until he got there with Caballero, and then Caballero did what he did to him. I think that, like I said, this is redemption for him, and it's going to show us, one, if Frank Sanchez is back to top form. Two, you know, if he can go in there and beat Moses, then definitely he's back in top form. And then, you know, if that would be the case, it should be nothing but top fights from here on. I mean, nobody's getting any younger, man. You know, and in fact, that would put him in position to where people would want to see him fight Anthony Joshua, fight somebody for a title, you know, a rematch with Itauma. Now, if Itauma, you know, so and that would basically, you know, solidify that, yeah, he's here. Not that doesn't make Itauma a fluke. Moses Itauma is no fluke. He's here. He's for real. But it would also show us, you know, where Itauma is, because either if Frank is too much for him skill-wise and knows how to nullify his shit, you know, then, hey, that, like I said, that means Frank Sanchez is back. But if Moses goes in there and beats him, whether it's by knockout or whether it's decision, then we know that, it's not, Moses is not just good, but he's at the very top of the division at that point, and pretty much he's going to be trouble for anybody. And I see him as that already. So this is what I'm looking at. If he takes this fight, I think Moses beats Frank Sanchez too. I I just look his hand speed, his movement, his quickness, his understanding of what punches to throw, and just being there, his sharpness, man, the reflexes he has. You know, I just think that he's going to be a problem for any of these guys because they got to get close to get to him, and pretty much they're putting themselves in harm's way. And the danger in that is because Moses will catch you coming in or on your way out, you know, and it's like they just can't get out the way of his punches in time. And I think, you know, for Moses, if it's a competitive fight, it shows you that both guys are good fighters. You know, but if it's a thing where he goes in there and just destroys Sanchez, it's like, okay, then what's next? And it's more of a demand for him and Caballero at that point. I think he beats all these guys, but we'll see. And like I said, all it's about is just keeping his focus and staying hungry, man, staying disciplined. I think he does that. I don't see any of these guys beating him. And then in the midst of this, let's see what AJ is looking like now. It's not about turning back the clock. It's just about how sharp can you get? What can you add to your arsenal? What does your experience bring you now? Where are you at now? You know, determination. You know, how much heart do you have? All of these type of things. You know, are you better defensively? Because one thing about heavyweights, man, is like they go through all this transforming their bodies and they do all this vigorous training just to end up getting clocked with a clean shot and then night. And it's like, all right, you know, it breaks them down. It discourages them. They don't have the same heart at that point. And before you know it, it's like, yeah, it's time to retire. So I just think that Moses beats all these guys, but we'll see. This will definitely let us see where both guys stand. But I think he beats Hrgovic easier than he beats Frank Sanchez, with the exception if he just land the right shot and get a guy out of there. But I mean, overall, I think competitively, because Frank is way better than Filip as a boxer. He's way better fighter. I just think that for Filip, him being tough and durable that's pretty much what people like about him. Because boxing skill wise, you know, Filip Hrgovic is basic, man. And we'll see what happens, but before Frank Sanchez, he has to get through Filip Hrgovic, which I think he will. And after that, it's Frank Sanchez. Now, that's if he wants that fight. Maybe if he goes in there and destroys Filip Hrgovic, you know, maybe they try to, hey, Moses, what do you think about fighting, you know, and this is for a title shot. But whether they have a different opponent, who that opponent would be, I don't know. And I don't see anytime soon of them saying, hey, how about you versus AJ or Tyson Fury? They're trying to save AJ for that for the AJ and Tyson Fury to fight, if that's going to even happen or whatever. But and today's boxing, you never know. You can't really be too confident that anything is going to happen the way it's supposed to until it actually does. Then that's when we know. But outside of that, I think that this guy Frank Sanchez is like I said, man, stay focused, stay hungry, stay disciplined. He does those things. I just think that he ends up becoming that guy. And as long as you got multiple champions out there, there's going to be a lot of dipping and dodging and people talking shit and promoters making sure that certain fights don't happen. And this is why the sport is in the position that it's in. This is exactly why it's in the position that it's in. You know, but I think that I think that Moses Itauma should be able to beat both of these guys. And I know that Frank is crafty. He's a clever fighter. And that's where I feel like he'll be more evasive. He'll be harder to hit than Filip overall. He won't be there to stand there and get hit with 2 and 3 shots. And I think he'll box and move. But one thing about Frank Sanchez is like when he can box and move and get that jab working and get on his toes, he looks really good. I think, though, that he's going to have the same problems as everybody else, and that's trying to get close to Moses without really getting hit with something, you know, hard that might knock him out. So my pick is Frank Sanchez being a harder opponent. Then Filip not getting hit with blows as clean as Filip will. And I think that overall, though, Moses Itauma beats both of them. We'll see how it goes. Talk to me in the comment section, y'all. Never fall in love with lies. Remember, the truth brings hate out of people. And I will catch y'all on the next video.